Welcome back to Language Learning Podcast.
It's great to be here.
Today, we have a deep dive that I think is going to feel very familiar to a lot of people. It's one of the biggest challenges, really, of modern life.
Absolutely. We're going to be talking about technology habits, stress, and that constant search for balance in a world that just never seems to turn off.
That's our mission today. We really want to analyze the vocabulary you need, the specific English phrases to talk about these things, about setting boundaries and dealing with all these pressures.
Exactly. And we're acknowledging that it's a real struggle for so many people to, as you said, switch off after work. It's something that comes up in conversation all the time.
It really does.
So this is aimed at our B1 to B2 level learners. We're going to make sure everything is super clear and give you the language to talk about this in your own life.
Our goal is to equip you so you can not just, have a simple chat about it, but really articulate how you feel and set those firm boundaries both at work and, well, with your friends and family too.
Okay, so before we jump into the dialogues and the analysis, I think we need to build a bit of a foundation.
A vocabulary foundation.
Yes. Let's define some of the key terms that are going to come up again and again. These are really crucial for understanding the whole conversation around digital stress.
Let's do it. We can start with a great idiom, one that paints a very clear picture. To be glued to something.
Right. So if you're glued to something, it means you're looking at it with just total unwavering attention.
Almost like you're physically stuck to it.
Exactly. Like you can't look away. It implies this really intense and often kind of unhealthy focus on one thing.
And while, you could be glued to a great book or maybe a football match on TV.
For sure.
These days, you mostly hear it used for someone just staring at their phone screen. That intensity is the key part.
It is, and it taps into this whole idea of the attention economy, where apps and devices are literally designed to keep you glued. It's not just a personal weakness. It's by design.
Okay, our second term is a newer one, a compound noun, doom scrolling.
Ah, yes, doom scrolling. This is the habit of spending, way too much time looking at bad news on your phone or computer.
And it's often unconscious, right? You just keep scrolling down, and the whole time, the news is just making you feel more and more anxious.
That's the paradox of it. The word itself is so powerful. You've got doom, which is all about a terrible fate, something you can't escape.
And then scrolling, which is just that simple mechanical action. Put them together, and it just perfectly captures that compulsive need to look for negativity.
Psychologically, it's a strange thing. People often do it because they're looking for some kind of certainty, even if it's bad news. But of course, all it does is make your mental well-being worse.
Okay, next up is a really serious one, especially for a professional life. To burn out.
This is so important to understand correctly. To burn out is not just about feeling tired or stressed.
No, it's a state that goes way beyond that. It's a condition of total chronic exhaustion. Emotional, physical, mental, all of it.
And it's caused by really long-term excessive stress, usually from work.
The metaphor is just so fitting. It's like a candle that is completely burned down. There's no fuel left.
Right. So when someone says, I'm going to burn out, it's a serious warning. It means they need a long break, a real intervention, not just a weekend off.
Okay, our fourth key phrase is all about setting boundaries. The idiom is to draw the line.
To draw the line. This means you are setting a very clear, very firm limit on what is acceptable.
It's creating a boundary, and if someone crosses it, there's a problem.
Exactly. It's fundamental for work-life balance. You might say something like, I'll work late on Tuesdays, but I draw the line at working on weekends.
It's a non-negotiable limit.
Precisely.
And finally, a very common one. It's a numerical shorthand, 200-4-7.
200-4-7, just a quick way of saying 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It means something is always on, always available, no interruptions.
And, that's great for a convenience store that's always open. But when you apply 247 to a person...
To an employee.
Yes. When you expect someone to be available 24/7, you're creating the exact conditions that lead directly to burnout. It's a completely unhealthy standard.
Okay. So with those 5 terms, glued to something, doom scrolling, burnout, draw the line, and 247, it can ready to see them in action.
Yes, let's look at them in the context of some real conversations.
Our first scenario is, I think, something many of us have experienced. It's a social situation. Imagine 2 friends. We'll call them Tom and Jessica. They're at dinner trying to have a conversation, but, one of them is a bit distracted.
This is such a great example of the kind of, social friction that technology can cause. As you listen, pay attention to the tone of voice. Tom is clearly annoyed.
He feels ignored.
And Jessica is distracted, maybe a little apologetic, but it's clearly a habit she can't easily break.
For our B1-B2 learners, notice how Tom confronts her. He's direct, but he's trying not to be overly aggressive. Okay, we'll perform the dialogue now.
I'll be Jessica.
And I'll be Tom. Jessica, are
Yeah.
you listening to me at all? You have been absolutely glued to your screen for the last 20 minutes while I've been talking.
Oh, Tom, I'm so sorry. It's just that noise of the notifications. I felt compelled to check what was happening. I really cannot help it sometimes.
Honestly, I think it is really rude. We specifically arranged this time to be catching up face-to-face. Whatever is on Instagram or Twitter or wherever you are right now, I guarantee you it can wait.
You are completely right. It is a horrible habit. I often find myself doom scrolling through the news without even meaning to, and it doesn't even make me feel good.
This needs to stop. You need a complete digital detox. Let us make a clear, simple rule right now. No phones at the table. Do we have a deal?
Yes. Deal. You have convinced me. I am putting it away immediately. That boundary is necessary.
Okay, scene end.
That was a short but pretty tense little exchange.
It was, and it brings up so many of our key phrases right away. Tom starts with that big one. You have been absolutely glued to your screen.
And that's such a powerful way to start. It's so visual. He's not just saying you're on your phone. He's saying you are completely absorbed.
It communicates the extent of her distraction perfectly.
And there's a real social consequence to being glued. There's even a term for it now, phubbing.
Phone snubbing.
Exactly. Snubbing someone in front of you for your phone. And it sends a clear message, doesn't it? It says the digital world is more important than the person sitting right here. It makes people feel devalued.
And Tom makes another great point when he uses the phrasal verb catching up. He says, we are supposed to be catching up.
Right. And that specific phrase is so important in a social context for our learners. To catch up means to share what's been happening in your lives after you haven't seen each other for a while.
It's about closing that time gap, sharing news, and, maintaining the friendship.
And you have to contrast that with how it's used at work.
Oh, that's a great point.
In an office, you might say, I need to catch up on my emails. That means dealing with work you've missed.
But socially, it's we need to catch up with each other. It's about personal connection. The preposition makes a difference.
It really does. Then, to set the boundary, Tom uses that beautifully simple phrase, it can wait.
Simple, but so effective. He's basically dismissing how urgent all those notifications feel.
He's performing what you could call a cognitive reframing. He's stating out loud that this real-world interaction right here, right now, has more value than anything happening on that screen.
It gives you permission to delay your response without feeling guilty.
And Jessica's response is also really interesting. She admits to doom scrolling.
She does. And she says she does without even meaning to. That shows you how ingrained, how automatic that habit is.
And that's the danger of it in a social situation. You might not be actively texting someone else, but if you've been doom scrolling, you're bringing all that external negativity and anxiety to the table with you. You're just not mentally present.
So Tom's solution, the digital detox, is his way of establishing that boundary.
Yes. No phones at the table. That's him saying, this is where we draw the line. The dinner table is a space for us, not for our phones.
Okay, so that gives you the language to talk about this with friends. But let's shift now to a more formal setting.
To the workplace.
Exactly, where the stakes can be a lot higher.
So in this next dialogue, we have Sarah, who is a senior manager. She's talking to Mike, a new employee. And Mike is maybe a little too dedicated. He's working very, very late hours.
Yeah, this scene is all about professional culture. It explores that thin line between being a dedicated employee and doing something that's actually harmful to yourself.
And Sarah's job here is to guide him, to protect his well-being. Mike, on the other hand, he feels this intense pressure to prove himself.
So listen carefully to how Sarah uses our vocabulary. She's not just chatting. She's giving a serious warning about his health. The language is much more formal.
Okay, let's do it. I will be Sarah.
And I'll be Mike.
Mike, I received an email from you confirming a task completion at 11 p.m. last night. This is highly irregular. Could you explain why you were working so late?
Good morning, Sarah. I just wanted to finalize the documentation before the deadline this morning. I felt I needed to be available 24/7 initially to make the best possible impression on the team.
I appreciate your dedication and eagerness, Mike, but I must warn you, if you maintain this kind of pace, you are absolutely going to burn out very quickly. That is not sustainable here.
I understand the concern, but it is challenging for me to mentally disconnect when I leave the office. I feel constantly attached to my work phone.
You must prioritize your health. You need to draw the line firmly between your professional responsibilities and your personal time. When you close your laptop, the work must stay here. Your mental and physical health is fundamentally more important than making an impression.
Thank you, Sarah. That is extremely valuable advice, and I will start implementing a stricter schedule immediately.
Okay, end scene.
Wow, that's a conversation I think a lot of people wish they could have with their manager.
Or that many managers need to learn how to have. It's full of really essential work-based language. Mike kicks it off by explaining his motivation with our number phrase, 2-1-4-7.
He says he felt he needed to be available 24/7. And that phrase just perfectly captures the modern pressure of always being on.
It's this idea that because you can be reached at any time, you should be. The virtual office never really closes.
And it's important for listeners to know that this expectation isn't universal. In some countries, particularly in Europe, there are actual laws about the right to disconnect.
Yes, where an email sent after 6 p.m. is legally not considered urgent. But in other industries or cultures, that 2-4-7 expectation can be, unfortunately, the unspoken rule.
Sarah's response is immediate, and she uses our most serious term. You are going to burn out.
And this is where we really need to dig into what burnout means, because it's not just a buzzword. For B1-B2 learners, it's critical to understand it as a clinical state.
It's not just being tired.
No. Researchers define it with 3 specific dimensions. The first is exhaustion, just feeling completely overextended and drained.
Okay, exhaustion. What's the second?
The second is cynicism. This is when you start to feel detached from your job, maybe even negative or resentful towards it and your colleagues.
And the third?
That's a reduced professional efficacy. It's the feeling that you're no longer good at your job, that you're not competent or effective anymore.
So burnout is all 3 of those things together.
Yes. It's a total collapse of your ability to cope. It requires serious time off and often professional help to recover from.
So Sarah's advice to prevent that is to set boundaries. She tells him, you need to draw the line between work and personal life.
And in this professional context, to draw the line is a directive. She's telling him to create very specific, concrete rules for himself to achieve what psychologists call psychological detachment.
Psychological detachment, meaning you have to be able to stop thinking about work when you're not at work.
Exactly. If you're at home but your mind is still at the office, you are not recovering. You are not resting. And the burnout cycle just continues.
So drawing the line could be something physical, like leaving your work phone in a drawer when you get home.
Or temporal, like having a strict rule not to check emails after a certain time. The idiom empowers Mike to take that control back.
And Sarah's final line really seals it. Your mental health is more important.
That is such a powerful statement in a workplace. It shows a real shift in professional culture. It's saying that your well-being isn't just a nice extra, it's a top priority.
It tells Mike that setting these limits isn't a sign of weakness, but actually a sign of professional maturity.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've seen how this plays out with friends and at work. This seems like a good time to step back and ask the bigger question.
Why?
Yeah, why is this so hard? Why is it such a universal struggle for our generation to just unplug?
Well, I think the crucial thing to understand is that it's not a personal failing. The difficulty is built into the system. It's the whole architecture of the digital world, the attention economy.
Our phones are not neutral tools.
Not at all. They are designed by teams of experts, behavioral scientists, to maximize your engagement. They are engineered to make it incredibly hard to stop being glued to the screen.
We should probably talk about the brain chemistry here, the dopamine.
We should. Every single time your phone buzzes, every notification, every like you get, it triggers a tiny release of dopamine in your brain.
That's the chemical linked to pleasure and reward.
Exactly. And it creates this incredibly powerful and, frankly, addictive loop. You get a little reward, so you want another one.
And it's made even more powerful by something called variable reward scheduling.
Right. Can you break that down?
Well, it's the difference between a predictable reward and an unpredictable one. If you knew you'd get one nice message every hour, on the hour, it'd be less exciting.
But you don't.
You don't. You never know if the next time you check your phone, you'll see something amazing or something boring or something stressful.
And that unpredictability, it's the same principle that makes the slot machine so addictive. It's far more compelling than a guaranteed reward.
And that's what drives behaviors like doom scrolling. You just keep pulling the lever, keep scrolling, hoping the next item will be the important one, even if it usually just brings more anxiety.
And this whole addictive cycle is made worse by the professional pressure Mike felt. That feeling that you have to be available 24/7.
The fear of missing out. FOMO.
Yes. The fear of missing that crucial work email or that important social invitation, it forces you to keep checking, which just reinforces the whole dopamine loop. It's a vicious cycle.
The stress to be available leads to fatigue, which is a symptom of burnout. And when you're exhausted, what's the easiest thing to do?
Pick up your phone. It's a low-effort stimulus, and the cycle starts all over again.
So breaking that cycle means we have to actively build the boundaries that Sarah was talking about. We have to manage our attention, not just our time.
So let's go back to those practical tips, but let's look at them as strategic barriers. They're not just life hacks. They're tools to fight back against this addictive design.
Okay, the first big one, turning off notifications.
This is huge. When you turn off that ping or that buzz, you are removing the main trigger.
It's a trigger for the dopamine hit.
Yes. You take away the variable reward. The whole interaction changes. It stops being a reactive thing where the phone tells you when to pay attention.
And it becomes a conscious choice. You decide when you want to engage, not the other way around.
It's about regaining control. Studies have shown that even if your phone is on the table, face down and on silent, its mere presence reduces your cognitive capacity.
Because part of your brain is still waiting for it.
A part of your brain is on standby, waiting for that potential interruption.
Okay, so what's the second strategic barrier?
Leaving the phone in another room.
This sounds so simple, but it's really powerful.
It is, because it introduces friction. It adds a physical cost to the action of checking your phone. If you have to get up, walk out of the room, and get it, that impulse to just quickly check something.
Yeah, it often just disappears. That little bit of effort is enough to break the spell.
It breaks that trance-like state of habitual use, and this physical distance is what creates that psychological detachment we said was so critical to preventing burnout.
You are literally, physically drawing the line between your relaxation space and your digital world.
Exactly. So these two tips are real, actionable ways for you to start taking back control, to go from being a passive consumer to an active director of your own attention.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, to talk about making these changes, breaking old habits, and forming new ones, there's a really important grammar point we need to cover.
Yes, this one is crucial for B1-B2 learners because the structure sounds so similar.
We're talking about the difference between I used to.
And I am used to. They look almost the same, but they mean very different things.
Let's start with I used to. This one is only for the past. It's for a habit or a situation that was true before, but, and this is the important part, is not true anymore.
Right. The structure is used to, followed by the base form of the verb, the infinitive. For example, talking about Jessica from our first dialogue. Jessica used to check her phone constantly at dinner.
The unspoken part of that sentence is, but now she doesn't. It emphasizes the change.
Or for Mike from the second dialogue. Mike used to think he had to be available 24/7.
But now his manager has told him that's not true. The past belief is gone.
And you can never use this for a current habit. It's grammatically wrong to say, I used to do that now. It is strictly for the past.
Okay, so that's the past. Now let's contrast it with I am used to.
This one is about the present. It describes a feeling of familiarity. It means something is now normal for you. It's not strange or difficult anymore.
And the grammar is different. You need the verb to be, I am, you are, she is. And then used to is followed by a gerund, the in form of a verb, or just a noun.
Perfect. So if Mike follows Sarah's advice after a few weeks, we could say, Mike is getting used to leaving work at 5 p.m.
It's becoming his new normal. The action is no longer strange for him.
Or think about someone who has stopped doom scrolling. They might say, I am finally used to reading a real book before bed again, instead of being glued to my phone.
So to be used to is all about adaptation and comfort with the current situation. Like doctors are used to working long hours.
It means that's just a normal, expected part of their life. So mastering this difference, used to plus infinitive for a dead past habit, and be used to plus gerund for current familiarity is absolutely essential.
It really is. It allows you to talk accurately about your own journey in managing technology and changing your habits. We'd really encourage you to try making some sentences about yourself, contrasting what you used to do with what you're used to doing now.
That's a great exercise.
Well, this has been a really comprehensive deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. We've given you the vocabulary and the concepts to really talk about digital addiction and the need for boundaries.
So just to summarize, remember those key terms. The very visual idiom, to be glued to your screen.
And that toxic habit of negative consumption, doom scrolling.
Professionally, remember the serious clinical state of to burnout.
And the most important tool you have to protect yourself, the ability to draw the line.
And finally, that unhealthy expectation of being constantly available 24/7.
And we've established that this isn't about willpower. The struggle is real because it's designed to be a struggle. The solution is to be intentional, to create that friction and detachment for yourself.
Right. And building on that idea of Tom's digital detox, we have a specific challenge for you.
A challenge for everyone listening.
Your mission for this evening.
Uh-huh.
We want you to try that physical barrier we talked about. Pick a 1-hour period tonight.
Just 1 hour.
And for that hour, turn your phone completely off, not on silent. Power it all the way down. And then put it in another room.
This is your chance to practice what Sarah preached, to consciously draw the line and prioritize your own well-being and your own attention.
Use that hour to just be present, to reclaim your focus.
The conversation around our relationship with technology is, it's ongoing. It's not going away.
But the central idea that gives you power is actually very simple.
Don't let technology control you. You control technology.
Thank you very much for listening to Language Learning Podcast.